If you're refreshing your sub count every single day, stop. Because these three metrics actually matter more when you're just starting out. So there's a real problem where most beginners absolutely obsess over subs and views, okay? This is the one thing that we're all drawn to that we think is a signal of success on YouTube. And it can be, but it's actually really misleading, especially when we start our channel and we upload our first lot of content. So why are subs and views not the correct metric to track when we're looking at progressing on our YouTube journey? So subs and views are essentially outcomes, okay? They're outcomes, they're things that happen after the fact. They are not necessarily signals for growth, not only to you, but also for YouTube, okay? And there's a big movement now where, subs used to be a big thing back in the day, but they're really not, okay? It's really not important. Subs are generally only important if you're looking to get monetized on YouTube. If you need to hit that 500 subscriber count for the initial monetization stage to have access to creating a community and get super likes and all that sort of stuff, or you need the 1000 subscribers in order to be approved and become a YouTube partner and actually earn money through ad revenue. But after that 1000 subscribers, it doesn't really matter, okay? So long as people show up and watch your videos, that's what matters, okay? If you have 1000 subscribers, but you have 100,000 loyal viewers that show up and they just don't necessarily want to hit the subscribe button, that's totally cool, okay? Subscriber count is more of a vanity metric, really. It's not so much a metric for growth. So what actually does matter, and especially early on your YouTube journey? So there's three metrics that are really important here. So the first of them is click-through rate, or CTR. So what is click-through rate? So if you don't know what click-through rate is, it's basically the rate that people are clicking on your video. So this metric just measures how many people are actually clicking on the title and thumbnail. The second metric that we want to track is AVD, or average view duration. So that essentially means, are people watching the video, okay? Are they clicking on the video and watching 10 seconds of a 10-minute video? Or are they clicking the video and they're watching 10 minutes of the 10-minute video, okay? So we want to track average view duration. And we also want to look at this third metric, which is our video retention graph. So what does the video retention graph show? Well, it essentially shows when people are dropping off, okay? It shows when people are dropping off and bouncing from the video, or they're skipping ahead to watch the next part because maybe this part is too boring for them. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what these numbers actually tell you and how you can improve these numbers early on and improve them over time as well, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for incremental progress. So click-through rate, it's going to tell you, obviously, is your thumbnail and your title, is it solid, okay? Is it clickable? That's what we're looking for. We're not looking to create something that's clickbait. We're looking to create a promise. We're looking to put a promise out there to the viewer, and then we're going to deliver on that when they watch the video. So we want to get as high of a click-through rate as possible. So if, say, your video was shown to 100 people on their YouTube feed, that would be 100 impressions. And let's just say that your video was so good, like the title and the thumbnail was so good that those 100 people clicked on the video. Well, you're going to have an insane click-through rate of 100%. Now, that is not normal, okay? That doesn't happen even for big established channels. It just doesn't happen. You're never going to appeal to everybody in that moment. But we want to increase that click-through rate as much as we can. So what is a kind of rough estimate, a rough guide of a decent click-through rate when you're starting out? Well, really, when you're just starting out, I would say anything from about 3% and up is good. Anything that's below 3%, means that there's a lot of work to be done on your title or your thumbnail or both, okay? And really, most people when they're starting out, if you're doing a fairly good job and you're still new and you don't have a loyal following, you don't have this big audience that is like waiting for your next video, if you can get about 5% click-through rate on average, you're doing well, okay? You're doing well. But if you can get 10% or more when you're starting out, you're really on the right track, okay? You're doing really good here. And bear in mind that the more impressions you receive, so the more YouTube takes a gamble on your videos and they show it to more people on their feeds, over time, what's going to happen is your click-through rate is most likely going to drop, okay? It's going to start to come down because the way YouTube works is, let's say you've got 10 subscribers. When you upload a video, what they're going to do is they're going to test that video on your 10 subscribers. That's like your core audience. So they're going to show it to them first. And if they all click on it, that's great. You've got 100% click-through rate. But now YouTube's going to take more of a gamble and they're going to widen that net. They're going to widen that circle and they're going to show it to people who necessarily haven't subscribed to you, but they think would be a good match for your video. And most likely your click-through rate is going to drop as that happens, and that's going to progress as they show it to more and more people who are less likely to click, but YouTube wants to gather the data and see if they will. And what also can then happen, which I've noticed, so this is my second channel, but I started the first channel 6 months ago and it's a travel-based channel, is that I will get high click-through rate at the start when it's shown to like my loyal subscribers. It will then slowly come down as that net gets widened. But then once the impressions actually slow down, and let's say in a few weeks time after the video's been uploaded, the video's getting much less impressions each day, the click-through rate will actually start to increase because YouTube is understanding exactly who this video is for. You know, once it's gone through the kind of testing phase of testing the core to the broad, they now have a more accurate idea, and they are going to just serve that video to people who they really think are going to watch, and that click-through rate will increase over time as well. So that's the sort of numbers we're looking to hit with click-through rate. Average view duration, you know, are people actually watching? What are we aiming for here? So ideally, we're looking for people to watch the whole video. You know, if you can get people to watch the whole video, that's awesome. That's what we really want. But don't be disheartened like I was when I started out. You've put a lot of time and effort into a video, you put it out there, and people just watch the first 30 seconds or they watch the first minute of, say, a 10-minute video or maybe even a longer video. Don't feel so dejected and demotivated when you see those numbers, because that's normal, okay? We're just starting out. We're going to suck at the start. That's okay. Be proud of yourself that you've taken this leap of faith and you're now on the YouTube train. You've actually put yourself out there and you're making content. That is awesome. Let's focus on the small wins, okay? You actually got people to click and watch the video. That's the first step. But really, in terms of average view duration, we want people to realistically watch at least like a third of the video, if not half of the video or more. And bear in mind, people's attention spans are becoming less and less over time as there's more and more short form videos being consumed. So people are more likely to skip through your videos as well. But this will depend on who is watching your video, because if you have, say, if you appeal to an older generation, then there's a good chance they're maybe watching your video on their TV, and they're less likely to click away, and they probably have a better attention span than, say, the newer generations, okay? So let's move on to the video retention graph. What are we actually looking for here? So the retention graph should normally start at 100%. So everyone starts watching the video, we've got 100% of people watching, but so what YouTube does is it will track your intro. So that's the first 30 seconds of the video, and you're going to see a massive drop off at this starting phase in the first 30 seconds of your video. Why does that happen? Why do sometimes 50% of the people who clicked on the video drop off, or more than 50%? Why does that happen? So there's a couple of reasons why. So it might be that the title and the thumbnail was packaged and positioned in a certain way that the viewer made an assumption and thought the video was going to be about this thing, but when they click on it, the intro doesn't necessarily back up the idea that they had. The intro is suggesting it's going to be about this other thing, and they're then going to feel like, this isn't what I actually wanted, this isn't what I clicked on, so I'm going to leave and find another video to watch. It could also just be that they've clicked on the video out of curiosity to see what it's like, and maybe they just don't vibe with it from the get-go, or maybe they've just clicked on the video and they've went to watch it, but something has happened in their life, the door's rung, there's a delivery person there, or someone wants to talk to them and they're just going to turn off the video. So these things happen. So ideally, with the retention graph, what you're looking for is, again, we want to keep 100% of people to the end. We want 100% retention, but that never happens, okay? So what I've noticed on my travel channel, because a lot of the videos I put out are quite long, and people are maybe going to want to skip through it, or maybe they can't watch it all in one session, so they're going to stop it and then come back to it later. I tend to find that if an okay video that's performing okay will get about 33%, so a third of people will actually watch to the very end, okay? And if I've actually done really well with a video, I'll get about 50% or maybe slightly higher than that to watch to the very end. But ideally, we're looking to increase that number over time. So how do we actually improve on those numbers over time? Well, with click-through rate, we want to make the best titles and the best thumbnails that we can. But when we're starting out, we don't want to obsess over making this perfect. We want it to be good enough to get it out there and to start getting data. You can always change your title and change your thumbnail later on as well. So over time, as your skill set improves in creating titles and thumbnails, you're going to be able to go back to your old videos and update them as well. So that is fantastic. How do we improve average view duration? Well, we just have to create better quality content. We have to create content that our audience really wants to watch, and we want to make it as valuable as possible, okay? And this can be really difficult, especially at the start, because one, you don't have any data to work from. So you don't have like 100 videos that you've already put out and you can look at the ones that had the highest average view duration and look at them and see, okay, what was different about those videos? I'm going to replicate that. And we also have our own ego in the way here. Okay, we like certain things about our video, but our audience might necessarily not see that as valuable as we do. So there's always this bit of personal bias, and it's a common thing that happens not only in like creative writing, but also when it comes to editing videos as well. There's this famous sort of saying, it's kill your darlings, okay? So you have to cut out a lot of stuff that you really like because you like it, but your audience isn't necessarily going to see it as valuable as you do. They're not going to resonate with it as much as you do. So that just takes time really to understand. And normally what happens is you'll edit a video, you'll think it's really good, you'll upload it, and then maybe like a few days later or a week later, you'll re-watch the video and you'll see all of the moments where you're like, that actually went on a bit too long. I could have cut that out. This part wasn't actually necessary. I should have chopped that off. That intro was way too long. I should have made that a lot shorter. And that's totally fine because for the most part, normally you can just remake the video. Unless it's like a one-time thing, a one-time event, you can always, like that's video version number 1. You can then move on to video version number 2 and make it better as well. Okay, it's going to serve your audience. So a little reality check here as we're sort of getting to the end of this video. Low views and low numbers in general, so low click-through rate, low average view duration, and low video retention is completely normal at the start of your YouTube journey, okay? We have to look at this as practice, and it's good data, not only for the YouTube algorithm, but also for ourselves. We now at least have a benchmark to work from. We now know that when we started out, we were getting 3% click-through rate. Our first videos were having a 2-minute average view duration of a 10-minute video. So it was a 20%, we had 20% retention there on average. So we now have a benchmark to use to improve upon, and that's fantastic, okay? So basically, to sum all of this up, if you improve your click-through rate and your watch time, YouTube will do the rest, okay? You just have to be consistent and be incrementally improving all of these different skill sets. But these are the 3 key metrics that you want to track. Forget about views, forget about subs. Don't even look at them if you can. It's so difficult not to, but if you can, don't even look at them. Obsess about click-through rate, average view duration, and the audience retention graph, the video retention graph as well. So if you're still a bit confused as to why no one is actually clicking on your video, why are they not clicking when they see your thumbnail and they read your title, I've actually made a whole video where I break down why this happens and what you can do to make your thumbnails and titles 10 times better. So watch the video here to find out how, and thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.